Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a spectacular ocean marvel that's defined entirely by water rather than land. We are exploring one of the most remarkable and honestly least known places on our entire planet, the Sargasso Sea.
So let's start with a totally fascinating paradox that kind of challenges everything we know about our planet's geography. Think about the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, or the Bering Sea. What do they all have in common? Well, they're defined by the land masses that surround them. But the Sargasso Sea completely defies this basic rule. It begs the question, how can a sea even exist without a single coastline?
Section 1. A Sea Without Shores. Let's take a journey into the vast North Atlantic.
To solve this mystery, we've got to travel far out into the deep blue waters. The Sargasso Sea is completely unique on Earth. While your ordinary seas are defined by rocky shores and sandy coastlines, the Sargasso is defined entirely by moving water. Its borders are dictated strictly by dynamic ocean currents that form a massive rotating gyre. That makes it literally the only named sea on Earth without a single land boundary.
So, what's holding it together? Well, let's look at the actual architecture of this ocean phenomenon. The sea is effectively walled in by four immense currents. On the west, you have the mighty Gulf Stream. To the north, the North Atlantic Current. The Canary Current acts as the eastern wall, and the North Atlantic Equatorial Current sweeps right across the south. Together, these lock in to form a massive clockwise circulating system known as the North Atlantic Gyre.
Contained within that swirling, rotating perimeter is a massive, constantly shifting space. We are talking about an area spanning approximately 2 million square miles of ocean. To put that into perspective, that's roughly half the size of the entire United States. It's about 600 nautical miles wide and 1,750 nautical miles long, sitting squarely in the Atlantic, with Bermuda resting right near its western fringes.
Historically, though, mariners encountered this massive area with absolute dread. Back in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed into these waters and was just terrified by the thick mats of floating brown algae he found. He was worried the weed would trap his ship or hide shallow, rocky waters that would run him aground. Add in the famously dead winds of the horse latitudes, and sailors were convinced they were entering a nautical graveyard where ships would be stuck for eternity, which, to be fair to Columbus, is exactly what it looks like when you're out there. But actually, you can scratch those spooky maritime legends of a desolate ocean desert because the reality is entirely different. The Sargasso masses generally aren't a threat to modern shipping at all. In fact, this sea is an astonishingly clear, calm oceanic environment. Its waters are globally famous for their deep blue color and exceptional clarity, boasting underwater visibility of up to 200 feet.
All right, Section 2, the golden floating rainforest. We're looking at the biological engine of the Sargassum algae.
What makes this clear blue ocean desert so incredibly vibrant is the exact same weed Columbus feared, Sargassum. Notice the term holopelagic. While a lot of seaweeds reproduce and begin life attached to the ocean floor, the Sargassum here is totally different. It lives its entire life floating freely near the surface, reproducing vegetatively out on the high seas without ever touching the bottom. To pull off this wild floating lifestyle, the Sargassum algae is equipped with these tiny balloon-like gas bladders that keep it perfectly buoyant. These floating mats bunch together to create a rich, dense biological canopy. It acts exactly like a golden floating rainforest, right in the middle of the open ocean, transforming what would be a nutrient-poor expanse of water into a bustling hub of life.
And the sheer scale of this biological engine is just staggering. Like all algae, Sargassum produces oxygen. Based on measurements taken in 1975, scientists calculate that this floating biomass produces an astonishing 2.2 billion liters of oxygen. That's 2.2 billion liters every single hour. Seriously, take a deep breath right now, because this unique sea is one of the primary sources of atmospheric oxygen for our entire planet.
Moving on to Section 3, the ultimate marine nursery. It's a bustling shelter in an ocean desert.
When you actually peek beneath that golden canopy, you find a literal explosion of biodiversity. Young loggerhead sea turtles ride currents like the Gulf Stream just to reach these sheltering mats, using them as crucial cover from predators during their highly vulnerable early years. It's a vital spawning site for white marlin, porbeagle sharks, and dolphinfish. Migrating humpback whales pass right through it, and there are even species uniquely adapted to this exact environment. Take the Sargassum frogfish, for example, which has evolved this incredible camouflage to blend seamlessly into the seaweed.
But honestly, maybe the most miraculous story of the Sargasso Sea is its connection to eels. This sea is the only known birthplace on Earth for endangered European and American eels. Millions of eel larvae hatch right here, and over the next 3 years, they make a staggering cross-ocean commute to the freshwaters of Europe and North America. They grow up in coastal rivers over many years, and then, right at the end of their lives, they swim all the way back to the Sargasso Sea just to spawn. This incredible life cycle was a total mystery until it was finally discovered during the famous Dana expeditions in the 1920s.
Section 4. Threats to the Sargasso. What happens when currents collect more than just seaweed?
Unfortunately, the story isn't all pristine blue waters and thriving turtles. The historic fear was that ships would be trapped by the sea, but today, the harsh reality is that the sea is being trapped by us. We really have to ask ourselves, what happens when the gyre that keeps the seaweed perfectly contained starts trapping human pollution instead?
We can't do this explainer without highlighting the severe human-driven threats this delicate ecosystem is facing right now. The Sargasso is under immense pressure from industrial-scale overfishing, alongside major disruptions from commercial shipping lanes. Furthermore, the looming prospects of deep-sea mining and oil drilling present massive future risks to the integrity of this entire ocean sanctuary.
But for sure, the most visible, immediate threat is plastic. The exact same inward-pushing surface currents that safely gather the sargassum also happen to accumulate vast amounts of our waste. The Sargasso Sea is home to the massive North Atlantic garbage patch, which is this high concentration of non-biodegradable plastic pollution. This introduces toxic chemicals directly into the food web, poisoning the creatures that eat it. It's even led to the discovery of plastic-consuming bacteria, which might be spreading completely unknown poisons through the marine microbial ecosystem as we speak.
Which brings us to Section 5, Protecting an Ocean Marvel. How do we govern a fluid and dynamic space?
So how in the world do you protect an area that basically defies traditional maps? It's a massive logistical and political puzzle, because the borders are completely fluid. They shift seasonally, correlating with changes in ocean circulation and the Azores High Pressure Center, and they lie entirely outside of any single nation's jurisdiction. Step 1 is simply recognizing a fluid space in policy. Step 2 is international collaboration, which actually saw a major breakthrough in 2014 when multiple governments came together to establish the Sargasso Sea Commission. And Step 3 is the ongoing effort to use this unique sea as a testbed for developing new, dynamic legal instruments for high seas governance, proving that even as our climate and ocean currents change, our conservation policies can adapt right along with them.
The Sargasso Sea is a golden floating rainforest that literally provides breath to our planet and a safe harbor to some of the most incredible migrating creatures on Earth. But its very existence reminds us that arbitrary lines on a map can't contain the natural world, nor can they contain the pollution we create. It leaves us with a lingering but vital question. How can we step up to protect a fluid, ever-changing, borderless world out on the high seas? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating ocean marvel with me, and keep questioning the world around you.